I attended a Boy Scout group just across the road from this building, so we used to play around this building quite a lot. I remember Zoro being big on telly at the time, so there was a lot of sword play up and down these steps with old bits of stick. I just made the assumption that every scout hall in Australia had one of these next door. I was wrong. This 1840s Greek temple is located on a suburban street in a suburb of Hobart. It has a very interesting story to tell. In 1836, Sir John Franklin arrived in Hobart to take up the position of governor. Yes, the famous Arctic explorer. But this story is not about him, but about his adventurous, highly educated and bold wife, Jane. Jane had married John Franklin at the relatively late age of 36, but she had not spent the previous years idle. Rather, she had travelled extensively in Europe visiting the antiquities and galleries, and it has been suggested that she was the best educated Englishwoman of her time. On arrival, she set about lifting the arts and cultural life of Hobart. She visualised a gallery on their estate that they had named Ancanthe, a little Greek folly set in the idyllic picturesque valley. The Greek temple in a suburban street is as peculiar today as it was originally when it was set in the Tasmanian bush several hours' ride from the town itself, but it begins to make sense when seen in the context of the time. In the grand estates of England, the placement of antiquarian follies in the picturesque landscape had been fashionable for some time, and knowledge of Greek and Roman art and architecture was celebrated. Lady Jane procured a design for the Greek temple from England, along with a wish list of marble sculptures and works of art to display in the gallery. The building's designer is not known, but it may not well have one as the building is so simple, and Jane already had a design anyway. So whilst the design of the building did not require great skill, knowledge or experience, the building offered did. These fluted Doric columns are probably the most difficult carving assignment any stone carver can undertake. The stone carvers are the ones that carried the knowledge of the classical orders. They're the ones that had to produce them. The stone carver that undertook these columns would have been at the pinnacle of his trade. But the columns have their own story to tell. The antiquarian structures of Greece demonstrated great variance between buildings, but the classical scholars of the 1700s rationalised these into a set of ideals. The Doric column, for instance, should decrease 1/6 of its diameter from 1/3 of its height. This is known as the antasis. This was followed loosely throughout the 1700s and into the 1800s, but by 1840 it was becoming discretionary. These columns don't have an antasis. They taper evenly over their full height. This might suggest that the work supervisor or carver were not devotees of classical correctness. The museum was opened on the 26th of October 1843 and included items of natural history and a library. However, Sir John Franklin's tenure as governor had come to an end, and the Ancanthe estate that included the museum was being placed in the hands of a trustee. Sir John and Lady Jane Franklin both clearly had a vision that went far beyond Tasmania. Jane could see the possibilities of art, culture and a universal education, while John imagined a whole world waiting to be explored and a Northwest Passage to be found. However, what they established had to remain in the real world of petty small-town jealousy and politics, and not long after their departure the collections were split up and the building used as an apple shed for the next 50 years. Lady Jane Franklin established a museum to bring arts and culture to the far side of the world. She would not be the last to attempt this. Thanks very much for watching right to the end. If you like this, subscribe, press the thumbs up button, tell a friend. If you didn't like it, drop me a note. Tell me why you didn't like it. Get into a debate with me. Anyway folks, thanks very much for watching and catch you soon.